Our chapter today, ladies and gentlemen, is chapter 5, and it is going to talk about electrocardiogram. And we are familiar about a lot of information, and we are going to review all these items which we had before, and it will be very good job and good memorization. And from this point, we are going to be going straight forward for more and more information to be following the understanding. So what we need to know about the electrocardiogram, if you remember, I told you what is the difference between electrocardiogram and electrocardiograph. And today we are going to be familiar about these items. And these items are, as you see, are 5. And we mentioned all of them before, I think, and you are aware about what is the P wave and what is the QRS complex and what is the T wave, right? And we have to add more information about PR interval. What do you think? P stands for the P wave. R stands for the R wave here in the complex. Also for ST segment, it is S stands for this S wave from the QRS complex, and T, we are familiar about it. So we have P wave, we have QRS. So P wave is atrial contraction, QRS is ventricular contraction, as you know, and T wave is ventricular relaxation or repolarization. This important interval, which is PR interval, means what? Let us make it easy for you. We mentioned P stands for atrial contraction. R stands for ventricular contraction. So what this interval? This interval is the time between conduction of impulse from SA node till it reached to the AV node. So this will be very important subject. We are going to talk about it in case of heart block. So take the notes. PR interval, important in case of what? Heart block. And we are going to know what is the normal and what is the abnormal very soon. And the ST segment, like we practice all of us, we note that the ST segment is like on the isoelectric line. And if it is elevated or depressed, means above the isoelectric line or below the isoelectric line, more than 1.5 small box, it means myocardial infarction or ventricular trouble. So these are 5 items. We are going to talk about them, and we have great importance for each one. And we will spend much time, as you know, for the P wave. As I told you, it is a small wave, but we notice a lot of subjects, a lot of talk about this P wave and how it is like doing trouble to us. And again, to refresh our knowledge, we mentioned what is the electrocardiogram and electrocardiograph. And the EKG, as we know, like I draw for you on the whiteboard, that the P wave, and you are familiar now about each wave. We tested this together. You are doing very good job for understanding the name of the wave. And this is, remember, this is the isoelectric line, which is not positive, not negative. Any wave above will be positive, any wave below will be negative. So what is the PR interval? You see here, it is the beginning of P till the beginning of R. So it is PR interval. And what is the ST segment? It is from the end of S till the beginning of T. So this will be the ST segment. Are you following, guys? All right. Who will make like this drawing? Oscilloscope. what is the oscilloscope? If you open the machine, which we practice on it, you find that there is like a pen or something drawing, so it make up and down wave, like if you are familiar about Richter, which measure the earthquake, it is the same. So here it is attached to the electrodes and attached to the machine, and according to the electricity coming from different part of our body, it will make these waves, and we are going to study these waves. I hope these slides to be like in front of you all the time. If you have a printer, you can print this one, or you save it like a picture and put it in front of your computer, or you keep it in front of your handbook to be like reference, what this and what that. Okay, so what we need to know also regarding the rhythm. We mentioned that the heart rate is rhythm, has a rhythm. Sometimes we say that the pulse, like you know, CD, that the pulse is regular. Like what? So this is regular. If I find that it is coming fast, coming slow, or it has no pattern, it will be irregular. We are going to touch such kind of rhythm. Okay. We mentioned what we mean by electrodes and what we mean by leads. And we mentioned that the leads are 12 and the electrodes are 10. And we have to know that we have the standard leads, which is limb leads. We call them standard leads, if you remember. We have a positive, we have a negative, and we have a ground. And we mentioned all of these also during our lab time. This is question in the exam. And the question in the exam telling you that which one is bipolar. You know that there's some people, they have this disease. It is a disease called bipolar, but here it is not meaning a disease. Bipolar means it has sometimes to be positive, sometimes to be negative. So when we have this bipolar question, don't consider that this is like the psychological condition of people, they have bipolarity. But what we mean by bipolar, it is like the change of charge from positive to be negative. So what about the other leads? They are not bipolar because they don't have positive and negative. So left arm positive and the right arm is negative. Lead 2, left leg is positive and right arm negative. So I need you to highlight these two, that the right arm all the time negative. So take this note. All the time, right arm is negative. So don't get confused. But the left arm can be positive, can be negative. So again, the right arm all the time negative, the left leg all the time positive, but the left arm is the only one to be changed from positive to negative according to the leads. I need you to save this information. It is easy question to be answered in your certification exam. So what are, Diana, the bipolar leads? Lead 1, lead 2, lead 3. Right arm negative all the time. Left arm is subject to be positive and subject to be negative. And the left leg all the time is positive. And electricity going from the negative to positive. Electricity is going from negative to positive. So this information will help us, Zara, to understand what we call Ansoff triangle. We are going to talk about this very soon. Ansoff triangle. So what is the rule? I need you to save it, okay? Number one, what are the bipolar? The bipolar is lead 1, lead 2, lead 3. What is the charge of the left arm? Left arm, sometimes positive, sometimes negative. What about the right arm? The right arm all the time negative. What about the left leg? All the time positive. You got it? And if you notice that I didn't mention the right leg. Why? I told you last time that right leg is ground, or all the time it is neutral, if you are following me, Irene and Aaron. Okay? Any questions so far? All right.
Wait, I have
Then,
one question, Dr. Israel. You
yes.
mentioned that the PR interval starts at the beginning of the P wave and ends at R, or at the beginning of
Yes,
the QR,
yes,
or
ends at the beginning of R, yes. Start of P, and end at R.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. You have another question? Ask as you like.
And I was just confused because I saw somewhere that it was from the beginning of the P wave to the beginning of the QRS complex.
No, the beginning, actually,
Sure.
no, not this beginning of, if we go back, I don't like guys to like start over from previous slide. So when I say have a question, look here, start from P, and here start from actually the beginning of R. So we call PR interval.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. This is another question in the exam, guys, telling you that what can we obtain from EKG? Okay, Emily, what we can obtain from EKG? Can we obtain the heart rate? Yes. Can we get if the rhythm is regular or not? Yes. Can I say that the impulse conduction interval, like the PR interval, it will tell me what is that? Yes. Is there any abnormal conduction? Yes. But can I get what is the pumping action performance? No. Can I ask you what is the cardiac output from EKG? No. What is the blood pressure with EKG? I can't judge. So cardiac muscle hypertrophy, I can't answer you. Okay, so this slide is a subject of questions asking you that what is the criteria, Zahra, we can obtain from the EKG. So this is very common. Why? When you have a patient, like one of the family member or patient, regular patient, and asking you, Rini, would you please, this is my EKG, can you tell me what is my blood pressure? So Irene will say that the EKG is not telling us what is your blood pressure. Another patient will ask, Aaron, can you tell me, Aaron, what is my heart performance as cardiac muscle hypertrophy or not? Aaron will say the EKG is not a subject to tell us about this. We can do like echocardiology or another procedure, but the EKG is not telling us any information. So it tells us about 4 and it doesn't tell us about 4. Back, Corinne, to our knowledge that we mentioned that 4 will help us a lot to remember a lot of information. So EKG will tell us 4 and it will not tell us 4. Is it clear? Any question?
What do you mean it will 4 and not us 4 again? Can you repeat that?
Which one?
You were saying, it will tell us 4, but you...
As you see here in the front of you, the slides telling that the EKG can tell us about 4 items, but it cannot tell us about also 4 items. It can tell us about what is the heart rate, if the heart rate is regular or not regular, if the pulse conduction is regular, or what is the interval between R and R, it will be like PR interval. It
Oh, okay.
gives
I get
us what is the conduction, it is okay, the conduction, or there is a failure or delay, but it cannot perform us or tell us about the pumping action or the cardiac output, which you mentioned is we multiply the stroke volume by the heart rate and so on. So we cannot have this information from EKG. You got it?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let us go to standard leads, which we mentioned. The lead 1, the positive electrodes, as I told you, is left arm, and the negative is right arm. Lead 2, the left leg is positive, and the right arm is negative. And the lead 3, the left leg is negative, is positive, and the left arm is negative. So this is like what I told you, the summary, that the left arm is the only one move from positive to be negative. Save this slide, please. As I told you, this help us to understand what are the leads. As you see, if we go from right arm to left arm, this will be lead 1. Why we call this? Because I told you electricity going from the the negative to the positive. So right arm to the left arm. Then lead 2, right arm to left leg. Lead 3, it is from left arm to left leg, and in this case, the left arm will change to be negative, and this very important information, you have to save it, otherwise you will be like losing points in the exam. Easy to be remembered. What is the leads? Very important. All right. Then we will get the information which we talked about it earlier, that we have the strip or the graph, and the graph is made of horizontal and vertical small square. And as you see here, the small square time is 0.04 second, and the speed should be like 25 millimeter per second. And the vertical one, which will be like 10 small square, will give us 1 millivolt. As we mentioned, the vertical is voltage and the horizontal is time. And the big square, as you see, the time is 0.20 second. And this is like refresh our knowledge, which we had before during the lab time. And here we have here the waves, and also we talked about the wave, which one will be positive, which one will be negative, and so and so and so. So all of this, we had this before. Here is the new one, which we need to know and save it. The PR interval. It is the time impulse travel from SA node through the internodal pathway and the atrial toward the ventricles. So you have to save the definition of the PR interval. And the time should be saved also. It is very important. We are going to use it many, many thousand times during our study. So what is the normal time, Aaron?
Let's see. It's around is that? Point 6? 0.06? Oh. Do you hear me?
I hear you, but you don't answer my question.
You asked for the how much time is between
I
like
thought
the
it was
intervals?
0.4.
Are you looking to your computer or your screen?
Yes,
I have
it's 0.
Yes, go.
0.12 seconds to 0.20 seconds.
Yes, correct. This is the correct answer, Aaron. So please pay attention to what you are attending, not be busy with other issues. Okay? So this number has to be fixed, has to be saved. The PR interval, Joanna, is range between 0.12 to 0.20 second. Okay? Any change in this number or getting bigger than 0.20, this means delay in the conduction. Okay, Corin? Then we have the QRS complex. We mentioned about this, that the Q and S are negative. And after that, the QRS is representing that the impulse go from the AV node going into bundle of Hess and produce ventricular depolarization. Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of depolarization?
Is that contraction?
Yes, correct. What other word?
Systole. Systole.
Systole, perfect. So depolarization means contraction, means systole. Correct answer. All right. The QRS complex, guys, has a fixed number for normal person, and it measures how much. Can you read this for me, Aaron? This is the normal value of the QRS. What is the time?
Value of QRS. 0.12 seconds.
Say it again.
0.12 seconds.
No, read it correct.
The measure is less than 0.12 seconds.
Less. Very good. So why I am asking you to repeat? Because it should be less. Take care. Okay, guys? Should be less. If it is 0.12 or bigger, it will be abnormal. Be careful because EKG is very critical, as I told you. So you see, 0.12, less than 0.12. If it is 0.12, I will put the patient into another category. You remember? So take care of accuracy. And we know that if I ask you also, guys, I need one to tell me that you see here, it say that it means 3 small boxes. I need one to tell me, explain this for me. How come it is like 3 small boxes?
I'm guessing since each box is 0.04 seconds, you do 0.04 times 3, which is, or yeah, 12.
Very good. So 3 times 0.04, which is the time for small boxes, equal 0.12. Correct answer. Thank you. Then the ST segment, it is the time interval during which ventricle depolarization and repolarization of the ventricles begin. What is the other word, Corinne, for repolarization?
Relaxation.
Very good. Another word,
Distal.
diastole. Very good. Correct answer. Diastole, repolarization, relaxation. Okay, CD? All right. Isoelectric line or consistent with the baseline. This is the criteria of ST segment, as I told you in the beginning of our lecture today. Elevation or depression means above or below the isoelectric line indicate of acute myocardial infarction. Take care of this. Anything like written in front of you in red slides as a warning, take care. So keep it in your mind. T wave represent what? Aaron, T wave represent what? Aaron, do you hear me?
Yes. Okay. So that'd be the relaxation, right?
Relaxation of what? Yes, correct. Relaxation of what?
The S wave?
Hmm?
No. Would it be? Yeah. Wait, no. Let's see here. P and then Q R S. Would it be the relaxation of the S wave?
Relaxation of what? I can't hear you. Relaxation of what?
The S wave? Do you hear me?
I hear you, but relaxation of what?
The S wave or the QRS, right? So it's QRS and then
No. Aaron,
No?
stay online after we're done with our lecture today.
okay.
Joanna, T wave represent what?
The relaxation of the ventricle.
Correct answers. Thank you. You catch it, Aaron? Any question regarding this chapter?
I'm kind of
Yes,
confused
ma'am.
on just kind of like the intervals. Like they're basically saying like when the wave starts, like the contraction and relaxation. Is that like the different intervals that we're seeing?
The PR interval from the beginning of P till the beginning of QRS, or it is very small, so we consider it is from P to R. The ST segment from the end of S till the beginning of T. And it represents the beginning of relaxation. You got it? All right.
And this is all in chapter 5, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I had a quick question
Yes, ma'am.
about the slides that said bipolar leads, and it was lead 1, lead 2. I didn't see where lead 3 was written on that.
Okay, let me do this. Of course, I do this when you are at school, very easy. So see my hand, okay? This is my right hand. This is my left hand. Okay, are you following?
Yes.
So lead 1, right going to the left. Okay, the left is fixed. So this is my right hand. So right going to the left. So this is lead 1. Okay, lead 2, my right hand, see in the camera, my right hand going to my left leg. Are you following, Zara? Again,
Yeah.
lead 2, my right hand going to the left leg. Lead 3, left to left, left arm to left leg. Again, I will repeat. The 3 leads. Lead 1, right arm to left arm. Lead 2, right arm to left leg. Lead 3, left arm to left leg. Clear, guys?
All right, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any question? Okay, I will stop recording to start another chapter.